One, two, 1, 2, 3. Hey guys, welcome back to another episode. I'm Brittany.
And I'm Ricky.
And we are
Paper Screen.
Awesome. So, Ricky, what have you been up to?
Let me tell you. So I finished reading Bathhouse.
Oh, yeah?
The book that you got me. And it's good. It's more of a thriller.
Okay.
It's more of a psychological thriller.
Sure.
As you would describe it. If it was a movie, it'd be like the equivalent of a J-Lo movie.
Oh my God, yes.
But I could see it being like a really good movie.
Yeah, sometimes those types of thrillers are like pretty good.
I mean, I Know What You Did Last Summer was based on a book, and I remember like reading that book and it was nothing.
Nothing. Yeah, I actually went to read that book too. I didn't finish it, but I was like, what the hell?
Yeah, I was like, there's no killing.
Especially after that. Was it the Prime show? Was it on Prime?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. Is that the show even close to the book?
None of it is. They're all three things are pretty different.
Yeah, I didn't like that show.
I didn't either, but I kind of hate watch, like guilty pleasure, you know what I mean?
Yeah, me too.
And then the ending, I was like, what a great way to end this fiasco.
Let's see what else I've been up to. I watched Heartbreak High on Netflix. Loved it. If you like shows like Generation or like Euphoria, but it's not like Euphoria. It's not as dramatic and pretty. It's like a teen drama, basically, but like for adults.
Yeah, it reminded me of like Degrassi if Degrassi was for adults.
Yeah.
And like modern.
And maybe Gossip Girl. Just
yeah,
kidding.
Yeah, a little bit of Gossip Girl. Yeah, like I thought it had a good mix of like the serious stuff and like just not being filtered and also comedy.
Yeah.
Do you know it's a remake?
Yeah. It's Australian, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's all I've been up to. What about you, Brittany?
I haven't been up to too much, kind of the usual. I did go see The Triangle of Sadness, and it was so good. I didn't really know much about it outside that first trailer, which is just showing like they're, it's like very wealthy people on a cruise.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the movie, I don't want to say too much about it, but it was like phenomenal. Very serious. And it definitely felt like highbrow. Because it's like about like wealthy people. But yeah, it was pretty good. I was pleasantly surprised. But yeah, so what are we talking about today?
In this episode, we're going to be talking about generational trauma. So today we are talking about, we have two movies that we're talking about because I wanted to start this conversation while being an Asian American. I feel like these two movies I can relate to. The first movie that we're going to be talking about is Everything Everywhere All at Once. And the second movie is Crazy Rich Asians.
You read the book, Crazy Rich Asians?
Yes, I read the book for Crazy Rich Asians, and it's actually 3 parts. Well, there's 3 books.
Oh, is the movie all 3?
Mm-mm.
Oh, okay.
No, but we'll talk about that.
Okay.
But yeah, I wanted to talk about this because, Everything Everywhere All at Once was like one of the biggest movies of this year. Like surprises, and it was like an indie film pretty much. And Michelle Yeoh kicks ass in this. Like, she's amazing. And also she's in Crazy Rich Asians. So this is kind of why we're talking about it.
I'm not sure if we want to do this now, but I put down like 3 Chinese family books that I thought were good. Yeah. So just real quick, there's Dial A for Aunties, which I just finished. And that's like Indo-Chinese family, and it's like a comedy kind of soap. Yeah, it's pretty good, but it's like she accidentally kills a guy she's on a blind date with. And then her aunties like help her cover it up. So it's pretty funny. And then the other 2 are Peach Blossom Springs by Melissa Fu. And that's a, multi-generational story, spans decades. I haven't read it yet, but I have it. And Portugal liked it, and she said I would like it. And she's kind of a tough critic, so when she says she likes something, I know it's going to be good. And the one I'm currently reading is White Ivy by Susie Yang. And it's super good. It's very like coming of age, dark, disturbing comedy.
Yeah.
But I haven't finished it, but it's super, super good. And yeah. I have like 8 books I've like read a little and then put down.
So let's talk about the first movie, Everything Everywhere All at Once. So I wanted to talk about this movie because, you know, being Asian American, I related to this so much. Only because, like, growing up Asian, like, my parents had high expectations from me. And I feel like the characters in this, like, especially the villain, who we'll get into, is dealing with child trauma and, like, or the villain, like, doesn't feel like she's loved and all that. This movie just, like, has a lot of layers too, like so much. Like an onion.
Like as many layers as the dimensions we peek into.
Also, this is like an action adventure movie led by an Asian woman.
Yeah.
That's like,
you could say kung fu too, right?
I mean that's not all kung fu.
No, but it like all the genres it's covering. It's like drama, comedy. Like it's just insane.
Yeah, totally. Definitely like better than Doctor Strange too.
Oh my god. I wouldn't even put those 2 movies in the same sentence.
Let's talk about like what this movie is about. It's about an aging Chinese immigrant, Evelyn, who is swept up in an insane adventure in which she alone can save the world by exploring other universes connecting with the lives she could have led. It's starring Michelle Yeoh, Stephanie Hsu, Huy Quan. We know him from The Goonies. Best movie ever.
So good, so good.
And Indiana Jones.
His name's Data in The Goonies, and he's like Inspector Gadget.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Booby traps.
Yeah.
James Hong, Jamie Lee Curtis, and Harry Chum Jr. also star in this. And it's directed and written by the Daniels, Dan Kwan and Daniel Scheinert.
The filmmakers are Aquarius and Gemini. And I think it shows.
That's funny.
Yeah. Super fun.
Who is the Gemini, though? Scheinert.
I don't know. I didn't write down like who is who, but they're both air signs.
No, it's probably Daniel Kwan. And you know what's funny? This movie is giving me Gemini.
Well, I think that's what I think is like neat about it is I think it is kind of more free and fluid and nuance. You know what I mean? I mean, I'm sure that has nothing to do if they're signs, but I thought it was neat.
That's funny.
I mean, come on. You may be in grave danger. There's no time to explain. Hold this. Why are you doing this? Pay attention. When we leave this elevator, you can either turn left towards your scheduled audit appointment, or you can turn right and go into the janitor's closet.
Why would I go into the janitor?
Not now.
Yeoh, why you download all these apps from my phone?
Breathe in. You're gonna feel a slight pressure in your head.
You turn the phone on.
So, Brittany, do you want to talk about your movie experience?
Sure. So I went to the AMC at the Grove. Shout out to AMC at the Grove. That's where I always go to my movies. I'm an A-list member. We love Nicole Kidman. We'd love a sponsorship. So yeah, I went there, I think with my partner and a friend. And yeah, it was one of those movies, like we kind of went late in the game.
Yeah.
Knowing that, like I knew I was going to like it because I liked everything else the Daniels have made. Also, like just seeing, interviews from the cast and I mean, everyone loved it. So it's just one of those movies, it's going to be phenomenal. So yeah, we kind of waited late, but the theater was still packed. And that's like one thing that's really neat about this movie is they had a $14 million budget, but the box office made $101 million.
Oh my God.
So that's like huge. Biggest grossing film for A24, beating Uncut Gems. I mean, that's pretty much it. It exceeded expectations, but I mean, I knew, and I kind of expected that because the last film of theirs I watched was Swiss Army Man, and it was just like so absurdist. And I went to the Dome to see Swiss Army Man, and the directors and Paul Dano were there and did a Q&A. Yeah, it was very cool.
Love that for you.
I think I brought Walter.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think so.
Love that for you guys.
What about your experience?
So my experience, I remember like seeing the first trailer and I was like, whoa, what is this? This like looks wild and crazy. And the theme is like multiverse. That's like really big right now. So I was like, oh, and it has Michelle Yeoh. Like, you know, you rarely see like Asian people on the big screen. So like this was like gonna be next level.
And the core of it's a family, you know?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, just by looking at the movie, I could tell it was going to be like a big movie. And when I went to go see it, like I went with my boyfriend and we had a really good time. It was like wildly fun, entertaining, and like there was a huge audience too. So everyone was like laughing in the theater. And there was like some parts that I was like, I didn't think that was that funny.
Yeah.
It was the rock scene.
Oh, I actually I was like really moved by that scene, but I don't know if I thought it was funny either.
Like the first part of the rock scene,
yeah,
and then there's like the second part where like she's falling and then she's chasing after her, or like the rock starts moving. That part was funny, but other than that, like I had a good time and it was beautifully crafted. And I saw it for the second time with the Q&A with Michelle Yeoh and Stephanie Hsu and the Daniels. They were there. Harry Chum Jr., who was the chef with the raccoon.
Yeah.
I think seeing it the second time, I was like, oh my God, it is a really good movie. And like hearing them talk about making it makes me want to make movies again.
Yeah.
Let's start talking about like the plot of this movie. And I'll just mention that like this movie has 3 chapters. The 3 chapters are everything, everywhere, and then all at once. If you haven't seen it, just don't listen to this podcast.
Yeah, no, and it's a movie you have to see.
Yeah, so we're going to talk about the first chapter, which is everything. And we get an introduction of Evelyn and her family, her husband, Waymond, and her daughter, Joy, and her father, played by James Hong.
And he's been in like...
he's been in
like,
a lot of movies too.
Like hundreds, right?
Yeah, a lot of like Chinese films.
He has like a crazy resume.
Yeah, he is a legend. But also so is Michelle Yeoh.
Yeah.
she's also a legend.
Yeah.
So basically we learn that they own this laundromat and it's kind of chaos because, you know, you see that Evelyn is kind of tired, stressed out, and the movie kind of opens with like her sitting at her desk, like piling up like tax
I think
receipts.
they might, are they being audited?
Pretty much. Yeah. You know, she just looks, you know, unkept. She's stressed out and like unhappy kind of.
Yeah.
Because you can see like her husband is kind of like quirky. He's the one that's like trying to calm her down and she's the frantic one, like just like, we got to do this, you got to do that.
Yeah, they're like opposites basically.
Yeah. So then we meet their daughter and we're like meeting her for the first time and she brings this girl with her and right away, right off the bat, like, you know that, okay, these two are like in a relationship together. So that part I could relate to. My mom, she's kind of like Evelyn, who like will acknowledge it, but won't like bring it up to other people if they ask.
Yeah, there's just like that lack of understanding and...
Yeah, it's just hard to explain, especially like Asian tradition is like a big thing. So it's like don't ask, don't tell.
Yeah.
We learned that like Evelyn isn't really supportive of her, and you could tell that like Joy is kind of, she doesn't have this really strong relationship with her mom, and because she's Americanized, you know, it's hard for her to like speak to her grandfather too, like like she's out of touch with her Chinese side.
Right.
And that is also something I can relate to because I'm Americanized.
And you're first generation, like...
Yeah, it's kind of sad because like I should know, but I'm not good at it when I speak to like my parents or like my family members. And I could tell like they just like judge me for like not knowing it. So we see that they're in some like financial situation. They're being audited by the IRS.
I mean, they look like they're just scraping by.
Yeah. And Joy is supposed to be like their translator, pretty much.
Yeah. She's not only translating literal language, but she's also translating like in her relationship with, you know, her elders. She also just in her life being first generation, being westernized and everything. There's like this loss of translation between how they think, like, you know what I mean? Like, because culturally, like, westernized, we're very, even like our generation as like millennials, we very openly express our emotions. And I know that's like something unique to like our generation, you know, like we'll say to people like, I'm really upset, like I'm really sad and you made me angry. And other generations like don't do that.
Yeah.
But yeah, Act 1.
So Act 1, they're supposed to meet with the accountant, which is Jamie Lee Curtis, and her name is Deidre.
I don't remember.
But she's like this like kooky lady with this like beer gut. She's like in a yellow sweater with like a white vest. It's just like such a character.
So ridiculous.
And it's so good.
And it's like she's never done anything like that, right?
No, I'm trying to think like
maybe Freaky Friday is like the closest.
Oh yeah. I love that movie.
Yeah.
So when they get to the IRS, their daughter Joy doesn't show up. So basically, like, Evelyn doesn't have a translator.
Yeah.
Pretty much. So everything that Deidre is like saying to them, like, it's out of their heads, or like they don't understand.
Right.
Basically. But before that happened, like Waymond, her husband, pretty much like flipped into a different person when they were in the elevator.
Yes.
And this is when we discover that her husband is not actually her husband. He's someone from a different universe jumping into her husband's body and telling her, like, pretty much warning her, like, there's someone coming after you. And Evelyn is just like, what are you talking about? And, you know, they're speaking in Cantonese in the elevator. And one thing I noticed, this is like a huge thing in the movie, is the bagel.
Yes.
So there's like an umbrella that he pulls out and he like covers the camera that's in the elevator, and the umbrella has like little donuts on it.
Oh, funny.
Yeah, and I was like, oh my god.
Yeah, all those details.
Yeah.
This movie has like a fucking ton of those.
Yeah. So in the elevator scene, he like makes her put on this Bluetooth
like a secret
set.
agent.
Yeah, like
earpiece.
she's like a secret agent, and this like light scans her, but she doesn't like notice what's happening. So then all of a sudden he like gives her this list of directions or instructions to like set off this headset thing.
Yeah.
At this point, they're like sitting down in front of the accountant, and like Deidre is like trying to explain everything, but like Evelyn is kind of confused because she just had this confrontation with someone who's not her husband and like telling her what to do.
Right.
And she has this like piece of paper in her hand. There's like 3 instructions, and the first one is like switch shoes on the wrong feet. The second one is like close your eyes and imagine yourself like being in the janitor's closet.
Mm-hmm.
And then the third one is to press the green button on the earpiece.
Yeah.
Which sets off everything.
All that was like actually one of the scenes I didn't like, that whole first act, just because they did such a good job making it disorganized and uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like every location they were at. So like seeing that like wide shot of her desk and she's going through all the receipts and stuff.
Yeah.
My God, I was just like, oh. And then in my brain, I'm like looking at it. I'm like, why did you let it get so chaotic? Like, why weren't these organized? You know, like it stresses me out.
Your OCD kicked in.
Oh
You're
my God,
like,
I don't.
You're like, oh my God.
It's just one of those things where it's like, I mean, that is like really, I don't know. It's just like really overwhelming. But I think it's like, it's so appropriate.
Yeah.
And then Jamie Lee Curtis's character being just so like emotionally cut off and like short with them, like not having patience. And I'm sure that's like, I mean, I don't know what it's like to have a job like that, but I'm sure they just have to kind of push back at people because people probably want to like persuade them out of situations. And I'm not implying that this family is, but you know. And then just like those types of offices, miserable.
Yeah. I mean, I've worked in an environment like that, like corporate office, cubicle, gray cubicles, and I don't miss it. And I mean, I kind of miss like working in an office, but not that type.
Yeah.
Do you remember the part where like Jamie Lee Curtis pulls out her little award thing and it's like a fucking butt plug thing.
Yes. Yes.
I totally forgot about that when the second time I watched it. I was like, oh my God, everything's coming back to me. Like, what happens with this fucking award thing?
Yeah, there's just so many little things like that. Like, just, I mean, that's the thing is I watched this movie once and I know I've forgotten and missed a lot.
Yeah.
You know, because it's like very overwhelming.
Yeah. Once she does these 3 instructions, she like presses the green button and basically she's being catapulted into these different versions of herself, pretty much. And we see her doing kung fu with like this Ho Chi Minh instructor, but like a woman version. It's kind of funny. And then there's like
the Ratatouille.
Yeah, the Raccacoonie.
Brilliant. Like so brilliant. I love that.
But that comes later. I think.
Yeah.
But there's like other ones where she's like a movie star or whatever. She's like on stage like as an opera singer, and we see her in like these different universes, but then she like comes back and she ends up in the main universe 626. Or is she like in a similar universe but in somewhere else?
It is a different universe.
Because the other universe, she's still sitting in the desk.
Just like zoning out.
Yeah. So then everyone turns into different people pretty much, and they're coming after her, and basically they're coming to kill her or take her to. We don't know.
Yeah. Does Jamie Lee, is that when she has the ring on her forehead?
Yes.
Okay.
So in the universe where she's in the janitor's closet, the evil Jamie Lee Curtis, she like busts through the janitor's closet and she's like,
oh God.
with the donut on her face.
Yeah. So weird. Yeah. I remember like at that point in the movie, like seeing it, I was like, I have no idea what's going on.
It was just so bizarre that I was just like, oh, I'm into this because like it's funny. So basically we learn that these people are all working for this evil villain that Waymond warned her about that's coming for her. And it's like this character named like Jobu Tubaki. So Evelyn is like fighting all these people off. Well, Waymond is. He's got this like fanny pack thing.
Oh yeah, the fanny pack. He's so like, cool.
Oh, here's the other thing is that like every time you jump into a different universe, you're learning a new skill.
Right.
And you're taking it back to your whatever universe.
Did you know that Key Waymond? That's kind of what he's been doing is, what do you call it? Like that kind of choreography and stunt.
Oh.
Yeah, he's been like doing that kind of this whole time.
So, that's why he like quit acting?
Yeah, I think he like wasn't interested in any roles. Actually, if you want to circle, when he saw Crazy Rich Asians, it made him want to get back into acting.
Oh my God. Okay,
it's full circle like a ring.
That's cool. I'm glad that he's like back on screen because like I miss him. And now he's gonna be in fucking Marvel.
He is?
Loki season 2.
Is he Loki?
Oh my God. That'd be fucking hilarious.
Oh my God, I would love that because I wasn't much of a fan of the Loki we had.
If he is not Loki in season 2,
right,
I'm not watching. Back to Jobu Tubaki.
Yes.
So we found out all these people that are fighting her are basically working with Jobu Tubaki, including Deidre. And we discovered that like Jobu Tubaki is actually her daughter.
Yes.
But in a different universe, basically. And she's coming after her because she wants to bring her into the bagel.
And that whole, I didn't know that, I like didn't catch this the first time until I was kind of like watching recaps of this film just to kind of remind myself.
Yeah.
But I like didn't realize that this Joy or whatever her name was, that all came from, in a different timeline, Michelle's character is doing multiverse testing on her daughter. And I somehow missed that.
Yeah, that was the other thing too. When I saw it for the second time, I was like, oh, that explains why like she's a mad person. Like she's this science experiment, testing experiment kind of made her like want to discover these other universes, and she just goes crazy.
Yeah, I think I'm not sure if they outright say this in the movie or if it was something I saw like commentary, but it was kind of saying the tests were so harmful to her that it kind of broke her mind.
Oh,
and so she's kind of spilling into all the different universes or something.
Yeah, and we see her in this montage of like different universes where she's just killing people.
And her fashion is killing it.
Yes, it's slaying, literally.
Like for real, like I saw it with Bunny. I think she was with me.
Yeah.
And like after the movie, they were like, I wanted like every single outfit she was wearing.
I know.
It was so cute.
Icon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which like how fun for that actress.
Stephanie Hsu.
Yeah, like how fun. I was going to say, this is kind of her big break.
It is.
You know, because I recognized her from The Path. Did you ever watch that on Hulu?
No, but is it like old timey? Or
no, it's
Victorian?
cult.
Oh.
Yeah, it's it's but it's Jessie from Breaking Bad. Anyway, Joy plays someone's like a daughter that's part of the cult, and her name is Joy.
Funny.
Isn't that so? Like when I was watching the movie, I was like, my brain was like hurting. I was like, Joy.
Oh my god.
Joy in the Past.
So she's like no, she's like this. It's like a spinoff of that movie.
Yes.
She's actually a cult leader in a different universe.
Right.
No, I recognized her from Shang-Chi.
Who is she in
She has a very small character. Basically, it's when Shang-Chi and Aquafina, at the end of the movie, they're like getting drinks with their colleagues or whatever.
Yeah.
And they're like basically explaining her like what
okay.
happened. They're like, oh yeah, we like fought this like monster thing. And
yeah.
she's just like, yeah, right.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden like Wong comes out of this portal and then she like looks and like, oh my God.
The new Sorceress Supreme.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so basically we see that Evelyn is finally having this confrontation with Jobu Tabaki in this hallway scene, and she's coming for her.
Mm-hmm.
And she's like fighting off these like guards, and she's like dressed in this like Elvis suit and like the pink wig, and it's just so funny.
She's changing as she's doing all this, right?
Yes. Yeah. Well, I think she's like, okay, she's changing, and then she's at one point she like turns into this like golfer.
Yes.
Like she's like a golfer at a country club.
Yeah.
But like as she's like fighting off these guards, they like start like turning into glitter or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Or like spitting out glitter.
Yeah.
And then she's got like these giant dildos as like nunchucks. It is so fucking hilarious.
Yeah.
Like it's amazing.
Yeah.
So then we finally see that Jobu Tubaki tells Evelyn like the reason why she's like doing this.
Mm-hmm.
Well, kind of. She's explaining to her about the bagel, and the bagel is a representation of her world, of everything that she's known, everything. But
it's a void, right?
Yeah.
It's like her...
When you throw everything together into a black hole, basically it turns into a bagel, or that's what she made it become. It just looks like an everything bagel.
Yeah.
And she says to her, like, it's basically a realization that nothing matters.
Yes.
And I guess you could say, like, this is where her nihilism comes from.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
You see it all, don't you? You can see how everything is just a random rearrangement of particles in a vibrating superposition.
I have no idea what you are talking about, but I can...
But you see how everything gets washed away in a sea of every other possibility. You're everywhere. You're like me.
So then after that, we get into chapter 2 and chapter 3, and like the whole movie is a wild ride.
Yeah.
But also like there's just so many elements of like I guess like you could say it's like generational trauma, child trauma.
Yeah, quite literally.
It's not just Jobu Tubaki / her daughter
Right.
dealing with the trauma. It's also Evelyn who's dealing with her own trauma, making choices as a younger adult version of her. Her father kind of disowned her for leaving her family to go get married with Waymond and pretty much become like Americans.
Right.
And they end up like having a shitty life, owning this laundromat.
They don't get that American dream that they came here for.
Exactly.
Yeah. I was going to say there's a quote from, like, when you were saying the multi-generational trauma. This is a quote from the directors. "Everything all at once was a dream about reconciling all the contradictions, making sense of the largest questions, and imbuing meaning onto the dumbest and most profane parts of humanity. We wanted to stretch ourselves in every direction to bridge the generational gap that often crumbles into generational trauma."
Wow.
Heavy shit.
Heavy.
Like, come on, that's like so air sign shit.
Totally. I wonder like if like Daniels if they had some like personal experience.
I mean, Daniel Quan, I would think so for sure, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I would think so. I think it's not only a story about generational trauma and being Americanized and all that. There's also just the aspect of like depression, because that's like what, you know, Joy is experiencing. Like, I don't know, there's just so many emotions in the film that like, so maybe that's also like how they could, I don't know, like how they could both like relate and create this masterpiece. If this doesn't win Best Picture, there's gonna be like hell to pay. I mean, it has to. Just looking at the box office alone, like it has to.
Yeah.
I would not give it, like, I can't even think of anything else, you know? And there are really good movies that even came out this year, but just nothing compared.
There was just so much heart into making this movie. When I went to the Q&A, you could tell like they loved making this.
Yeah.
Like it was like their passion.
Yeah.
And like Michelle Yeoh, she read the script and like wanted to do it. She was like, this is nothing that I've done before, and like I'm all about it. And I think she became like a producer on it.
Oh, cool.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
But yeah, like just listening to them talk about like making the movie, like it sounded like it was like a fun set to be on.
Yeah.
Because Michelle Yeoh was like talking about like how she would like do exercises in the morning with like the whole crew.
Oh, that's cute.
And then we ended up doing it with her. She like demonstrated how to do it. And I was like, oh my God,
was it Tai Chi?
What she demonstrated was literally just like something random. She was like, all right, now like throw your hands in the air, throw them down. Okay. Now slither like a snake into the air.
Just like waking up their bodies.
Yeah, basically.
That's cool. Yeah.
So that was fun.
I liked that it's really cool seeing how much the Daniels filmmaking skills and everything like just went up. It's always like really cool and you know. Yeah.
Well, Swiss Army Man, I saw that in theaters too, and I was like, what am I watching? And also you can tell like their style. Yeah, their budget was $14 million and the budget for Swiss Army Man was only $8 million. Wow. I mean, that's a lot of money to me for like a movie. It is. And I'm not sure when you get that budget number, I have no idea if that includes marketing. I kind of assume it doesn't. Right. But I'm not totally sure. So circling back to like Evelyn's character, like being unhappy and she's feeling pain, we discover that like Waymond wants a divorce. Yeah, he has divorce papers. And it's on that piece of paper that has the instructions when she has to jump. She in like the main world or whatever, she's just so distracted by aiming for perfection and like control. Mm-hmm. You know, like between the business and like how she like manages the family, I guess. And like she just is kind of like neglecting the relationship she has with Waymond, you know. Yeah. The fact that she doesn't notice that she's holding divorce papers, I think also is saying, you know. Yeah, it says something. Yeah. And like their relationship's a big part of
the multiverse.
Yep. Because we see like in a different universe where she's like this celebrity, pretty much like a movie star. And there's like a scene where Waymond kind of shows up to her.
Looking fucking good.
Yeah, he looks really handsome. He's like dashing, like in a suit and everything. And he comes to her film premiere. This is like their first time seeing each other in a long time.
Yeah.
Because she never left China. She never left the country to go with him. Basically, we're seeing like what her life would have been like without him.
His and her lives.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because he goes out to become like some sort of...
like a billionaire. A very successful like businessman.
And it's just like ironic because their life together is like poor and like they own this laundromat. It's just really sad. And there's like that moment that they have in the alley. It's very like soap opera, like, but it's so beautiful.
Oh my god, it is so like oof.
Yeah.
When you watch it, it's like really intense. I was gonna say too, like are we both gonna like start crying? So we're talking about like the serious shit. I know I can like see in your eyes, but like the like tragedy of like for him to be who maybe she like low-key wants him to be, or like what culturally her family, like her father and stuff wanted, was for him to be this very successful, right? And for her to have had success, if she would have stayed in China, she would have been successful. And the whole thing is their lives would have been significantly like richer, more successful if they were not together. Yeah. Which is like so tragic. But in that scene that I think you're tearing up about, do you remember what Waymond says?
Didn't he say like he would have been fine owning a laundromat with her living miserably or whatever because he loved her?
Yeah, he's basically just like, I can say this because I have the experience, like I am a billionaire, and he's just like, I didn't really need anything. I would have been happy with you. I don't, you know, and but like the way he says it, it's just like so, oof.
Yeah.
You know?
And it's just so beautifully done. Like it just reminds me of like K-drama.
what is the film In the Mood for Love?
In the Mood for Love.
In the Mood for Love.
Is that the name
think that's it's a film. Yeah, I think that scene is kind of an ode to.
Oh.
I think. I thought it was a Korean film, but I don't have to. Do you know what I'm talking about now? Yeah.
Yeah, because it looks like that.
Yes. Yeah. Gorgeous. Yeah, there's
all these like movie references.
I know. Well, yeah, that's the thing. Like this movie is like, it's unbelievably layered.
Yeah. And it's funny. Okay. I did catch one thing. They used like real B-roll footage of her on the red carpet. And one of them is Crazy Rich Asians.
Oh, shit.
I was like, I told my boyfriend, I was like, did you see that? And he's like, no, I didn't notice it. I'm like, oh, you weren't paying attention.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I love that. It's funny because, like, okay, at one point, they're like watching a movie of her in the universe, in the main universe.
Are they?
Yeah. So
is it on the TV?
I think that's okay. That's pretty much how Act 2 kind of starts because they're like fighting in the hallway or whatever. Or wait, no, I don't remember what happened, but I just remember like they're watching a movie where basically it's like the final scene where like she dies or something, and it's like that's how the movie ends, and then we go into the universe where she's like the actress.
Okay, yeah. So that must have been the film that she's premiering.
Yeah.
Or something. Yeah. Okay, that makes sense now.
And she like wakes up during the movie and she like, I think she jumps into that universe.
Oh, sure.
Basically.
Yeah.
And then she jumps back to the laundromat scene where we see her counting like the receipts or whatever, stacking the receipts.
Yeah.
But
right.
like basically like it all kind of ties together. And you think like the movie is like restarting again because we're back in this laundromat and like we're seeing pretty much the beginning of the movie.
Right.
But then, you know, Evelyn, she like realizes when she sees her daughter, she's like, you're not my daughter, you're Jobu Tubaki or whatever. And then so Joy, she does like this head turn and it's just like so funny. She's like, you're right.
Yeah.
And she tells her girlfriend to go leave.
Right. So good. Yeah, it's like through that parallel of timelines, like, and it's all okay. So they get sent home from the audit, and then they're preparing to have this like, what's the party for? Is like
I think it's Chinese New Year.
Oh, it's Chinese New Year. Okay, yeah, and they invite the audit lady, Jamie Lee Curtis.
I think she just shows up and was like, "You're about to get audited
because they
today."
were supposed to show up at 6.
Yeah. And they
or
never
something.
did.
That's right. Yeah. And then they end up vaping together, and I love it.
Yeah.
Oh my God. And their alt timeline.
Yes.
Oh my God.
They're like lovers, right?
Yes, they're like a couple.
With hot dog fingers.
Hot dog fingers. And I guess in the script it said that. And like I was watching this interview, and Michelle's like telling one of the guys who's interviewing her, and she's like, I did stop at that part, and I'm like, can you explain this to me? Why are there like these hot dog fingers? Like But yeah, like that was like the whole thing about this movie being so good about interweaving these like really big, deep, real, raw emotions and everything, and like the human experience. When the big climax is happening, they even during all that, her and Jamie Lee Curtis, they have the hot dog fingers, and they're putting their fingers in each other's mouths while like spinning in the living room, and it's like just such a crazy, outrageous.
It is a crazy scene, like just so weird, but like beautiful.
Yeah.
Like,
no, because it's about we can love.
Yeah.
We can love.
That is the moral of this whole movie.
Yes.
Is love trumps hate.
Yeah. Okay, so regarding love, I think love circles back to kindness, right?
Mm-hmm.
Love comes from like connection and whatever else. But I was gonna say there's that whole little monologue that Waymond does, like when toward the end when they're having that big fight, and he said, and I'm trying not to cry but he's like, the way he says it is like so compelling, but he just said he's like so tired, and he just goes, all day I don't know what the heck is going on, but somehow it feels like it's all my fault. I don't know. The only thing I do know is that we have to be kind. Please be kind, especially when we don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
We're both like,
I know. It's just like there's so much truth to that, because we forget that we need to be kind.
Yeah, and I think that's like the big thing with their daughter.
Yeah.
Is like she's severely depressed. And like that representation of her in this multiverse, she wants to take her mother to show her void of pain.
Yeah.
Like, and in like that's like the other like really heavy part is like, I don't know if it's like before that or whatever, but they do it in like a very...
Which part?
It's during one of the sequences of like showing the different timelines. I don't remember if it's during like the main one with the rock scene and all of that, or if it's before that. But you see, it's insinuated that Joy will take her own life, because there's the doll that like kind of like falls, like it's being hung, and then there's also stabbing herself in the stomach as in the cartoon universe.
Is it the piñata?
Yes, the piñata one.
Yeah.
Yeah, like it's...
And they're pretty much getting beat.
Yeah, it's really subtle, but like there is this kind of, and that's the whole thing about the generational trauma, right? And that's like, especially if I would imagine, coming from a Western culture where we are very, I love you, I appreciate, like that very, like we're very emo, right? Mm-hmm. We're not perfect or anything, but like we're definitely putting ourselves out there and our feelings. When you're being raised by a parent who comes from a completely different culture than what you've raised, it is probably very difficult, right?
Yeah.
Like, and like Michelle's character's Evelyn, how is her trauma navigating how she parents? You know what I mean?
Yeah, that whole scene where like Joy's like leaving into her car, it's like at the laundromat.
Oh my God,
it's outside, and like basically like she's trying to walk away because Evelyn is trying to confide with her pretty much, and she like tells her like, oh wait, Joy's like, I'm tired of this, I'm tired of fighting, something like that. She's like, just let me go.
Yeah.
And she almost lets her go. And Evelyn's like, get out of the car. You are fat. And you are da-da-da. Or something. She's like, you are getting fat.
You never call us, even though we pay for your phone. And you only come to us when you need something.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's like such an intense scene, because she starts off, like you think Evelyn... earlier, like when they're at the car, you think Evelyn is gonna make a connection, and then she ends up just blurting out something that's very a critique. Yeah. And whenever a parent critiques a child, it's very painful, right?
Yeah.
Like that's a painful,
but it's honest truth.
But it's honest truth. And that's the thing, is like when they're having like the conflict resolution, the second time they're at the car, what you're talking about, there is this exchange of, in Evelyn's own way, she's having Joy like kind of shaking her awake in regards to, you are more than suffering and I am also suffering. Like that we have, you know what I mean? By calling out things, like being like, no, like, listen, you don't call me. You only, like they're like reminding Joy is like, because that's the thing about too, like depression and pain is like you can get really swallowed into that and not realize how your behaviors impact others. Yeah. So like how would Evelyn know how her daughter feels? And that's the thing with teenagers. Everyone thinks teenagers are like, they're know-it-alls and like they're little brats and da-da-da. And it's like, no, they're in pain. Like they're all like going through like these, your brain's like developing these hormones, and then like whatever's happening at home, whatever's happening at school. And like kids now with the internet, that's terrifying.
We're getting deep.
We are getting deep.
Mom, just stop. Good for you. You're figuring your shit out. That's great. I'm really, really happy for you. But I'm tired. I don't want to hurt anymore, and for some reason when I'm with you, it just hurts the both of us. So let's just go our separate ways, okay? Just let me go. Okay.
So circling back to like the theme of love and kindness, towards the end of the movie, we're seeing all these people who are working with Jobu Tubaki on the stairs at the IRS building. Like it's like the staircase leading up to the bagel.
Yeah.
And all these people are fighting against Evelyn, and Evelyn pretty much knows these people from different universes. She's met them before, and she knows what triggers them. What she does is pretty much shows them what they love the most, and like it stops them from fighting against her.
Yeah.
And she's like climbing up the stairs and like showing them their real passion and love, and like from these different universes. And we see like Harry Chum Jr. He's the chef in the Rakakuni universe.
Yeah.
And it's just funny because like she jumps onto his shoulders and like basically pulls his hair to like maneuver him, because that's what he loved.
Yeah.
From the Rakakuni universe.
And Rakakuni's being taken away by animal control.
Yeah, that's so sad.
Yeah.
But anyways, she's like climbing up the stairs with Harry Chum Jr. and like fighting against these people, and like eventually she gets to Jobu Tubaki, or Joy, her daughter, and tries to stop her from going into the bagel. She like finally gets her and like grabs her, right? Because she was almost going into the bagel.
I think so.
This scene is kind of intertwining with the moment in the car.
Yeah, the moment in the car is kind of like, it's how our reality is gonna like see it and interpret it. But yeah, it's like every multiverse, the conflict I get, right? The big that big climax is like,
yeah. So then we see that like eventually we think that Jobu Tubaki is gonna go on the bagel, the donut bagel, and also going into the car at the laundromat. We think that she's gonna leave and like never come back. But Joy, she like gets out of the car and actually listens to what her mother says, and then back into the IRS building where like Joy's in the bagel. She comes out of the bagel and falls into Evelyn's arms, and like they like hug, and that's what like stops everything from happening.
Yeah. Well, if the rock scene there's this conversation that Joy, like before she grabs Joy and everything, Joy's like, please let me go, and she says something like, I'm tired, and we just hurt each other. Like we're just hurting each other. And then like in the other multiverses, I think Evelyn does need to see that and does need to understand. Like she needs to let her go. She needs to like let her daughter, but that's not what she wants.
Yeah. And
it's not also what Joy really wants. So like it's kind of like taking nihilism and then Buddhism, right? Like two things that are like, they have overlap as far as whatever, like, but one is the black hole and the other one is like
the light.
Yeah, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
This is like the big part of the movie that like I think
made you cry.
Yeah, like I think I was texting you Waymond, like everything, like he makes me cry. He's just, I was gonna say too, when you're just saying that, it's like his power is kindness, which is just like how it's just like, and even in the main story, like there's that customer, and he goes and tries to cheer them up. Like he just has like a different approach to life, you know?
Is it the one with the dog, the little chihuahua? Oh my god!
Oh, what's her name?
They call
Jenny
her like
Slate.
they call her like the big nose lady.
God.
So
anyway, whatever. It's not like a big scene or anything, but yeah, just like all these little moments where he's like in our main thing, he's choosing kindness. It's like really beautiful and empathetic. Because the whole point of when he says, you got to just be kind because you do not know everything. You don't know what people are feeling. I think the movie in no way is implying to withstand like abuse. Like it's not like that. It's more just kind of like, don't get caught up in the little reasons we hate each other. Yeah. You know? So the mom part, after she says, you are fat. No, she doesn't say it. She says, you have gained weight. Yeah. You never call me, even though we pay your cell phone bill. You only come to us when you need something. Like she's kind of saying all this, and it's Joya's like we saw earlier. She better win an Oscar, both of them. Yeah. Because there's that scene when she's kind of hoping for something from her mom, and her mom shuts her down, and so she's running an errand in her car, and she's crying. That cry was like so, like seeing it again, I'm like, damn, like that's like, it's just, I don't know, like imagine crying on camera. Like, I don't know, like, it's so powerful. And then like seeing the contrast of her, you know, in the like being this like villain. But do you remember what like she says next?
No.
To her daughter?
That's what I'm trying to remember, but
you're gonna cry. She says, yeah, why would I want to be with you? Da 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 da. And Joy is like very depleted and defeated. And then she goes, but no matter what, I will always want to be with you. And it's like,
yeah. Oh my god. Yes. Okay.
But you know, and it's this thing that like, it's like Evelyn doesn't know. She needs these skills to be able to speak to her daughter, but that's kind of like the easiest way for her to say it. Is like, no matter what, I'm always gonna want to be with you. Yeah. You know. Oof.
That's some deep shit right there.
Yeah.
This is really good conversation because like I feel like even if you're not Asian, I feel like a lot of people can relate to this. We all want to be loved. Yeah. We want to be loved by our parents. And
I think there is this, and I think even just like, I'm going to let this out there, but like we are so like from the boomer generation and the one prior, are they called like the greatest generation or something?
The Great Depression.
We have major differences in how we think and communicate. I think whenever there is the inability to connect, that is where this like continuation of trauma and pain and everything. Yeah. But I think ultimately we all want the same things.
Exactly. Generational trauma.
We love it. Love that for you.
Have you seen that compilation of Jamie Lee Curtis saying that?
No. Saying what?
This is what I think it's so funny when I hear the words generational trauma. Okay, it's her explaining the whole Halloween series.
Oh, okay.
In like several interviews. She's like, it's about generational trauma. I think it'd be hilarious if like she talked about this movie.
Oh my gosh. I mean, I'm sure she does. I mean, you know, it's much more on the nose.
Generational trauma. You know?
Yeah, I think overall that's kind of like, and that's a huge reason why I haven't rewatched it, is because it's like, it is so a deep well of feelings. You know what I mean? That it's like, you got to be in the right mind. I mean, I guess, like, you know what I mean? Because the other night when I was watching those clips, everything that night made me cry. I was up till like 3 a.m. Every TikTok I watched, I was like, I can't stop crying because like that movie just like turned on that faucet, you know?
Let's talk about like our favorite scenes and like what we didn't like about.
Yeah, I mean, I think my dislikes is super brief. It's basically, and they're not even dislikes. It's just if I have to, whatever. There are things that maybe I don't like. The feelings is the clutter. Like I physically can't stand that. And then
like in the house.
Yeah, just like yep. Just that disorganization. And the movie's a little long. I would have preferred if it was a little tighter. Jamie Lee Curtis was a little too scary. I'm like so serious. She was like a little too scary.
When she's like the evil
Yeah.
Deidre.
Yeah. She's
Oh my
fucking
God. I thought it was
scary.
so funny. When she's like this giant beast and she's like,
Yeah, she like scared me. I know it was like funny, but I was like, she's scary.
So that whole scene in the IRS building,
Yeah.
they compared it to like the Matrix scene.
Yes.
When Neo
Yes.
is running away from the agents.
Yes.
That's basically, I think the inspiration was.
Yeah, I think it literally
similar.
was. I think they said that the
Yeah.
Matrix. Yeah. That I guess that was our first big intro to multiverse.
Oh yeah, totally. But that's more like reality now.
Oh, please
are
don't.
living-
That's so funny.
We are living the Matrix.
Did you notice like the stuff with like the googly eyes?
Yeah, like in the laundromat.
Yeah, in the laundromat. They
Yeah.
put googly eyes on a rock, right? Doesn't at some point?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. So from what I understand, it's the googly eyes, well, they make a ring, right?
Mhm.
But the whole thing is when they're putting the googly eyes on something, it's bringing it to life, I guess.
Yeah.
Or whatever, yeah. Which I thought was like, how fun, the googly eyes. Like,
Yeah, it's so random.
What did you not like about it?
You mentioned the length of the movie. I agree. It is pretty lengthy, but none of it was like boring to me. But there was just scenes that elongated too long. And I was like, okay, can we, like the rock scene.
Yeah.
The rock scene did spend a lot of time.
Mm-hmm.
I remember sitting in the theater and I was like, what's happening? Why is it so quiet? And nothing happens for a while. And everyone's just like laughing. I'm like, it's not that funny, you guys.
Yeah.
And then like once they start like talking to each other, they show like text on screen. The rocks are having the conversation. Well, the rocks are Evelyn and Joy.
Yeah.
Then it gets funny. It does drag the
Right.
conversation.
Yeah. So when I watched that, I thought it was because like there's so much chaos and then it cuts. There's so much chaos and it cuts to that. But the conversation they're having, Joy is saying, "We're just rocks. Be a rock." And I think it's saying something about mindfulness and like meditation.
Oh.
And Evelyn like was just, it was so out of her element.
Yeah. I mean, it was a nice break from
Yeah.
the hyper editing. But also like, okay, if you're going to do this, you should have did it earlier.
Yes, exactly. I agree. I wish they had spent less time actually in the first act, I think.
Yeah. And there was like some parts where they were in this, it was like a conference room or someone's office.
Mm-hmm.
But like that scene I thought was like really long. I think like this is after that hallway scene because they're like
it
hiding.
is? Okay.
But then like Joy comes and finds them and she's like normal. She's not Jobu Tubaki
Okay.
at this point. But like she's like, why am I in this outfit? And then I think we finally discover that like Evelyn's father is like part of it too.
Mm-hmm. That was another really cute part though of the movie when he's like staring at Joy's girlfriend.
Oh yeah.
And then he grabs her hand and he's like, "Girlfriend?" But he says it in Cantonese and and the girlfriend smiles and she goes, "What did he say?"
Oh yeah.
It's like so cute.
Oh yeah.
It's like so sweet.
So I have some fun facts. The first scene that Stephanie Hsu was in was that hallway scene.
Oh my gosh, that's a first.
And she
filming?
had not met Michelle Yeoh yet.
Wow.
And she told the Daniels and she was like, can you just let Michelle know that I'm going to be like a little weird and crazy? I'm not like this. But like Michelle Yeoh did not know what to expect from the scene.
Why is that?
Because Stephanie is playing like several characters. You know, she's like playing Jobu Tubaki pretty much. And this is like the first scene that they're doing.
It's when we really first meet that character.
Yeah. And it's like, damn, right away.
Yeah.
They like met and then they hit it off.
There's a scene that they had to shoot, like one of the last scenes, because COVID started toward the ending. And I think it was just like one scene where they had to film like Michelle in the driver's seat of the car and then composite, I think Wayne outside the window, like something that's like just so, and you would never know when you watch it, but something like really goofy because of COVID.
Oh.
There's a one of those YouTube, I don't know who does it, if it's the New York Times, but the making of a scene, the Daniels cover that one.
Oh.
And that's the scene.
Another thing about this movie that it was edited in Premiere.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah, which is
Take
like
that, Avid.
Yeah, fuck you, Avid.
Fuck you.
I've worked in Avid. I've tried to.
Yeah.
And it's just such a nightmare to learn. And I was like, can we just transition to Premiere? Because like it is just so much easier. It's like user friendly. And I've tried editing on Avid on my Mac. It crashes a lot. And you have to work in a certain version of Avid for
Yeah, it's kind of the whole thing of it. Because it's for anyone who doesn't know, Avid was out. It's like an editing software that's been out forever.
From the ancient times.
Yeah, and it's still what big networks use, like heavily used.
Like Hollywood does not want to let it go.
Mm-hmm.
But like this movie like proves that like you can edit full-length movie on Premiere.
Oh, yeah.
And this movie is like 2.5 hours long. Like, no problem.
Right. Yeah.
So, but yeah.
Yeah. Amazing film.
Amazing film. So, final thoughts?
It's I think it's like one of the most beautiful films I've ever seen and creative. And I cannot wait to see what else the Daniels make.
Same for me. I thought this movie was spectacular. Like, it's never been done before.
Yeah.
Never the same. It is a wild and fun movie. Like, everyone should see it. It's definitely a movie that you have to open your mind to because there's a lot going on and you have to really pay attention.
It's a movie that's going to, but that's the thing that's good about it. They have a good balance of making you see and face very raw, real, difficult things. But the comedy and everything, I think, makes it.
At the end of the day, I don't think like everyone's gonna like this movie. Just because like, you know, everyone has a preference. And that's okay. Like, this was an amazing experience for me. I loved everyone in this. But good movie. And like, Michelle Yeoh is a legend. 5 stars.
Would you say does this fit into your top 10, do you think? Or
Oh, I would say so.
Nice.
Next to Titanic.
It doesn't it's no Titanic, but we love it.
All right, listeners. Well, that was the end of our episode for today. This was part 1 of Generational Trauma. Stay tuned for part 2. Until then, bye.
Bye.